are back.
We're back.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals and non-binary pals.
We are back. We are back.
It's been so long.
It's been so
I
long.
missed you.
I miss you too. Oh my god.
I missed our audience.
I miss our audience too. And I'm sure this is going to
Do we have?
Huh? We had an audience.
We have an audience, right?
We do have an audience. And I'm going to I'm going to shove this down Science Actually's throat. So we're going to have a quasi-reluctant audience, but an audience nonetheless.
A captive audience, yes. And it's a good time to point out that the name of this new endeavor is going
Stockholm
to be
Syndrome.
In fact...
You're going to be trapped with us, but in time you'll come to love us. And then when the authorities break in, you'll become human shields.
Yes. Fair point, but that is not the name of this new endeavor.
Dang it.
The name of this new endeavor is not Stockholm Syndrome, but instead it is Science Actually Presents the Nerd and the Scientist. That is us. We are them.
Who is who.
Ah, dun dun dun.
Spoiler, I'm not the scientist.
Well, what is a scientist really? What is... I feel like the difference between what science used to be as like natural philosophy and actual philosophy is just like having the next part of the sentence. Like, what's a thing? What does it do?
Right.
I could never be a philosopher.
I couldn't. Well, technically all are philosophers. Just some of us more profound than others.
I mean, if we think that we are philosophers, therefore are we philosophers? Is that how it works?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I'm a race car driver too. Not an experienced one, not a good one, but I'm a race car
driver. Going places fast. Oh man. But yeah, luckily for our audience, don't worry, we're not going to be making a show about philosophy and race car driving. This is going to be a show about science and nerd things and space and bad puns.
There's got to be a pun for when you're trying to think of a pun and you don't have one handy. All right, that's dead air.
That's dead air. If people listening at home or in the car or in the shower, if you somehow have a waterproof speaker, lucky you, I'm jealous. Where can I find one? This is our first episode back after a long while, after a brief hiatus.
Yep.
And we're figuring it out as we go along.
We are indeed.
We're glad to have you along with us as we figure out things.
Yes. For those who don't know the backstory, you're dialing in for the very first time. There was, and still is available, a fine show called The Space Case Sarah Show, in which Kovi and I were co-hosts. And if I may be so bold, I think we brought 125% of the comedy. It was great. And for you math people. Anyway, but Kovi and I are back. And we hope you like whatever it is we're about to talk about, which we don't yet know ourselves.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to figure it out as we go along. We had some great fun, good times, and many shenanigans on our previous show, the Space Case Sarah Show, with the space nerds, Kovi and Benjamin. That being us, we the space nerds, we do that thing. And so we're going solo. We're going to make our own show with blackjack. And no, no, none of that.
With blackjack and hookers. Apparently we both like Bender.
Yeah, we do both like Bender. Oh, gosh. It's funny when they make a show about humans living in the future and the most relatable character is a robot.
Bender is a hero. He is.
He is absolutely the hero. Oh, man. But yeah, we're going to have some fun on the show. We're going to be talking about science and space news. And I think just kind of trying to continue our work previously, which was making science accessible, whether that be science in academia and new scientific papers and stuff that's coming out, or space news. I mean, there's a lot of space news. It's always happening.
Always
There's too
happening.
much. Too much.
Too much.
I can't handle.
Yes, there's too much. Too much.
Like,
big space
they
news.
just stopped launching.
Big space news. As Kovi and I are recording this just yesterday, India landed their, forget the name wrong, sorry, the Chandrayaan-3 on the south pole of the moon. It's the fourth country to ever land on the moon, the first group to ever land on the poles. And they did it for a fraction of the cost of anything. It cost the Barbie movie about $158 million to make the Barbie movie. $158 million to make the Barbie movie, which cost more than twice what it cost India to land on the moon. 75 mil.
Wild.
One Barbie movie or two lunar landers.
Or basically one Barbie movie and just Margot Robbie's costume changes for the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
That surely was at least like 80 mil.
Yeah,
right
you
there.
could have a lunar lander and half of the Barbenheimer thing that's going around.
Oh, we should talk about Oppenheimer afterwards, definitely. But yeah, with the Chandrayaan-3 landing, huge congratulations to ISRO, to the Indian Space Research Organization, on their achievement. It is not easy to land something in the southern pole, or I guess I should say the southern pole region of the moon. The Russian space agency, Roscosmos, had actually tried a few days before, and let's just say they had a hard landing, not a soft landing.
Yeah.
Did not work out well.
No.
But to be fair, like, that was their first time, the Russians attempting to land something on the moon. I think it was a continuation from the lunar program. So the one that crashed was the Luna 25. Luna 24 was 47 years ago. Whereas
I didn't know it was that long ago. I knew it was been a while.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that was like when their space program had ended. Listeners, feel free to fact check me and call me out if I'm wrong, but that's what I recall. And ISRO, on the other hand, like, this was their third attempt. They had all been recently. They're kind of going for this like slow and steady wins the race kind of approach, where it's one of the reasons why it was cheaper. They were burning less fuel. They did a series of slower orbital transfers to get into a lunar orbit, whereas the Russian mission just went, "We're going for it."
Yep.
And they kept going for it, and they just kind of blew straight into it, which is unfortunate.
Hey, kudos. It's their first attempt in 40 years, and they made it to the moon. So, they didn't miss.
Not hard. Oh my gosh, do you ever play the Kerbal Space Program?
What?
Kerbal Space Program, KERBAL Space Program. It's like a little space flight simulation game that launching something is hard enough, and it's one of the first big hurdles of the game is actually getting something to the moon, let alone landing it. The moon's far. The moon's like a whole light second away from Earth. It's like 300,000 kilometers.
250,000 miles by compatriots. Americans. Anyway, 250,000 miles.
Big deal. The southern region of the moon has, so the South Pole itself is in constant darkness, which sounds kind of heavy, but it just means that it doesn't get touched by sunlight ever. And so that is the place where we believe there is going to be a lot of frozen water and other frozen volatile chemicals, which could be very important for future moon missions to be able to mine to sustain a base there. So kudos ISRO on your achievement, and it's big news.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they find.
Yeah,
it has a little rover.
Yes.
I think.
Right, that's the thing. Yeah, the rover should be released soon.
Right.
We'll rove around.
Chandrayaan-3 is gonna it landed, and it's gonna extend a little ramp. And inside the cargo hold at the top of the ramp is a little rover, and it's gonna hop out, scoot around, and hopefully get some good pictures and some good interesting things. We're in a part of the moon that we haven't explored on the ground before, so it's going to be
It's tough to
gray and
land there.
cratery, but new craters.
Love it, love it. Speaking of grey and dark, the new Oppenheimer movie.
I like it.
Can we discuss it? Is it too soon?
Oh, I think it's that bad. Well, it's a historical event, so we're not really giving away anything. Breaking news to those of you who are not in the know, but the United States developed
anybody who's been
bomb.
in a coma. If you've been in a coma for the last 80 years, congratulations on waking up. I hope you don't freak out about all the iPhones.
A few things happened while you're out. iPhones and Star Trek, those happened.
Yes. Oh, God. That would be a trip. But yeah, I thought it was an incredible movie. It kept my attention for all 3 hours. It really built up the tension. And it was just really fascinating to kind of get a picture inside the process of what went on at Los Alamos, where they were developing the bomb. And it was funny. People kept saying that it was like, oh, watching it was like seeing the Avengers for nerds, like all of these scientists assembling. But that really was.
That really is a really good way to explain it. Absolutely.
Physicists assemble!
Oppenheimer talked to Einstein, and they were at a disagreement. So that's kind of like the Captain America, Iron Man, Civil War episode. And so that makes sense. And then there was... he met Heisenberg, right?
Did he or didn't he? I'm uncertain about that.
I think he did. He went to... Who was it that came and visited Los Alamos? Was it Heisenberg that came and visited? Either way, they grouped up. And it was there was a lot of meeting of the minds, and there was a lot of good explanation, I thought. Like you're in the room with the physicists and engineers while they're cooking up the weapon. And you can see them all agreeing, and at the exact same time diverging in thought. I can make a bomb this way. I can change it and make it that way. I can make a hydrogen bomb. I can go this way. And it was... I thought it was great. It was kind of funny and comical in a way. It was also very intense in a way, because science is such a... I mean, you're studying something so intensely, and then you're putting it to work. And it's like anytime someone disagrees with you, they're almost like disagreeing with what you've committed your life to this far. So it's really... I thought it was very precious how everyone held on to their little niches of what they were doing at Los Alamos. I didn't care for the last half hour, though. Lots of legal scenes, for those of you who don't know who this is.
Yeah, hopefully we can try to avoid giving too many spoilers, but no, I definitely know what you mean, and it was kind of frustrating, I guess, to see the way that the last part of the movie and also the last part of Robert Oppenheimer's life was effectively just derailed by legal processes and bureaucracy and the government. So yeah, it's definitely a complicated aspect of that link between science and the government, and a lot of science is often wrapped up in defense projects. But I will say that like that whole aspect you were talking about of having a bunch of scientists in a room working on something together, but also at the same time being at odds because of their core principles and where they're coming from, very real. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about science, from my experience, that like you can be in a room with a bunch of people and you might have some overlapping knowledge / expertise or similar fundamentals, but there's definitely a solid kind of almost stubborn commitment to where you're coming from, but also at the same time an open-mindedness. And I think that good scientists early on in their careers have to learn how to kind of present their ideas and prop them up and be proud of them and say, no, this is what it is, but also understand how to accept when they're wrong. Which I think, maybe that didn't come across as well in the movie, but that's definitely a thing.
I'm not a scientist. I'm the nerd of the duo here.
Wait, what?
I picked
I
up
thought I was the nerd.
All right, fine. We're both nerds. And we're technically both scientists, but he has a piece of paper that says it. So.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, definitely. We're both scientists in our own ways. Should we do an ad break now or a dance break? Now that we're at the 15-minute mark.
This is the 15-minute mark. All right, let's do an ad break. And then
let's do an ad break.
Return from said ad break.
We will be right back after these messages. Have you ever wondered why your bath time is so boring? That's why you need rubber ducks.
Rubber ducks, bringing bath time to no. Blah 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 blah. I can't do it. I had a whole bunch of things I wanted to say real fast, and my mouth couldn't keep up.
Happy ducks, green ducks, yellow ducks, blue ducks, all the ducks. You want one? We have two. It'll be a work in progress.
I am not doing that. I hope we can cut that. And if we can't cut that, enjoy, fans.
we can definitely save it for another time. We do not have to use it. That's all right.
Ducks, ducks, ducks.
Ducks, ducks, ducks.
Blue ducks, yellow ducks, pink ducks, white ducks, brown ducks. We got them all.
We have them all. Any kind of duck that you would need or you would want, we've got them.
Except for striped ducks. Screw those guys. If you want striped ducks, you can get those from some knockoff website from China.
Absurd. Oh, man. Well, now that the ad break is over.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Science Actually Presents Scientist and the Nerd. We just got
the Nerd and the Scientist.
The Nerd and the Scientist. How are we going to do that? Are we going to do the Scientist and the Nerd or the Nerd and the Scientist?
We can do both.
Yes, we can.
If anybody's listening, this is completely derailed, but that's fine.
It's okay. The title of the show can exist in a quantum state, both Nerd and the Scientist, and the Scientist and the Nerd at the same time.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Boom.
I did get that right. Yes.
But when
Bobby
somebody
went
checks
to school for nothing.
Huh?
What?
The idea of a quantum state is, though, that when you actually apply an observation to the state, it has to collapse into one or the other. So you should keep it vague, and then every time somebody checks the website will load either as the Nerd and the Scientist or the Scientist and the Nerd.
That's hysterical.
Just throw in a random number generator, and if it's an even, load one, and if it's an odd, load the other.
I should animate two GIFs. One that starts off the Nerd and the Scientist, and then it gets scrambled really quick and change itself to the Scientist and the Nerd. Yeah. And then vice versa. So you can actually log in, and then you happen to be logging in as it's happening. As it's being observed. What? Oh.
Like, what's wrong with my computer? Oh, God. It reminds me of this thing that Monty Python wanted to do back when they were like a regular show on the BBC. Mm-hmm. And they had this plan where they basically wanted to make the master volume for the episode quieter and quieter as the episode went on, so that people would be just turning up their volume incrementally throughout the half-hour show. And then in the last minute, just to raise the master volume and suddenly, overwhelm people watching at home that their volume would, blow up. The BBC did not allow them to do this because they were actually afraid that people would sue because their televisions would get damaged. Oh, God, he's fact-checking me. No,
I'm not fact-checking you. Andy Kaufman actually did this.
What?
Yes. After the BBC.
Wow.
Yes. Not to be. Shortly after Pipe. Right at the same time. But yes, Andy Kaufman did do that.
No way.
He had.
But what was the outcome?
People were confused. He messed with the
Andy Kaufman.
volume, and he also messed with the like the vertical, horizontal holds or whatever, so the picture would start getting out of whack. You could fix it at home by adjusting something on your set, but in doing so, you're only fine tuning to his program as it was running, and then as soon as it was over, everything was off. So you have to refix your
Wonderful.
And
Gaslighting your audience is the best way to ensure your audience likes your program. Just make them think that they're crazy and that there's something wrong with them. Just like when we had an episode where we were meant to put in a space sound,
right,
and there was none. We had forgotten on our previous show,
mm-hmm.
And I had friends messaging me saying, "Hey, I the space sound this week, was it the sound of space? I couldn't hear anything. Was that the point?" And I was like,
I got someone reaching out for that one also. Like, is that like the sound recorded in that quietest room ever created? That thing? Like, that would have been a good answer. No.
That would have been a phenomenal answer.
It would have been.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh. Speaking of messing with the public, if it's okay, I'll do a little mini plug for myself.
Please.
At the moment, I'm doing a science comedy show.
That's right. For all you folks in Australia, head on down.
Australians are the ones who turn every letter into R, but somehow Australia.
Yeah. If you don't know Australian, you might miss some of the jokes.
Yeah. If you don't know space, you miss a lot of the jokes as well. They'll
so where is your comedy show? And where is it happening?
So there are only 2 performances left out of 3. It was a big run, I know, right? They just didn't think that many people would buy tickets. Basically, there are 2 official performances. One that I did as part of Science Week, National Science Week in Australia last week, and another performance that I'm doing next week as part of the Sydney Fringe Festival. That will be on September 5th. For folks who managed to hear this episode before then, which is unlikely. And I'm also doing another performance, not officially part of the science comedy program, but I'm just, using the same material, doing the same set tonight, actually, at the AIP, Australian Institute of Physics, Physics in the Pub event, which will be kind of like a little variety show of physicists running around doing, make them laugh, make them sing, make them dance, da-da-da-da.
That's pretty much it, everybody. That's the entirety of the program.
Our program is basically just make them laugh and include some science along the way, if we can.
Excuse me.
But yeah, this it's going to be a science comedy thing where I'll be talking about recent science I've done, looking at brown dwarf stars, and then the rest of the time is just basically railing against astrology.
I think that's a worthwhile thing to rail against. Oh,
it's
God.
good.
I could be having the best time in the world. If you want to watch me instantly clam up in a social setting, ask me what my sign is, and tell me what you know about me because I told you my sign. I'm just going to watch it. When's your birthday? I'm a Pisces. Oh, that means you like this and that. And okay, bye.
I think the best ways to mess with people when they're interested in talking about that, and I get that a lot, right? People ask me what I do, and I say I'm an astronomer, and they're like, "Oh, cool. So, like, do you study horoscopes and stuff?" And I'll say, "No, that's astrologer," which is annoying. But yeah, one of the best ways to deal with it is either to say that your sign is something that they've never heard of. So you could just say like a dinosaur or one of the other constellations that isn't part of the main 12 zodiacal constellations. Or instead, you could say, well, I used to be a Gemini, but because of the shifting positions of the stars over the past few thousand years, I'm not anymore. And that will just blow their minds. And you've just like subtly told them that their entire belief system is invalid.
I need to find a way to have that answer ready to go at all times.
Well, there you go. It's there for you. Feel free to use
I
it.
was a Pisces, but I'm more of a quasi Taurus now.
What'll be interesting, quasi-Taurus. I know you said Taurus, but in my mind I heard quasi-tortoise, which is just
That
like
works
some sort
just as well.
of
Pick an animal.
half fish, half tortoise,
Half man, half tortoise.
half man, half bear, half tortoise. It will be interesting, actually, what happens in the future with astrology, because basically, the reason why the reason why we see the stars in the same place as relative to us is that they move very little because they're so far away. But eventually, all of the much more distant stars will fade, and we'll only be able to see stars that are within our galaxy that are gravitationally bound as the universe kind of spreads out. So I wonder if that will embolden the astrologers or if that will make them change their minds.
You can just get a quick run around and say, my sign is an ever elongating fish, or my sign is an ever elongating lion. Because that's kind of true. Because they are stretching out.
Yeah, you'll go from the fish to the eel.
to the tapeworm.
Yeah.
Hey, that's me. I'm a tapeworm.
Oh gosh. Oh man. Yes. So we will be uploading this episode and all our future episodes on the platforms and all the places. We're thinking about just doing the audio for now, and then eventually we'll upload visuals as well once we get our stuff together, and maybe do a couple of live episodes.
I think that would be good. For any of you hearing this, please reach out to either Kovi or myself and let us know your interest in a live episode. What do you want to see?
Yeah.
What do you want us to do? We'll do it.
Make them laugh. Make them laugh. We should juggling. But yeah, if you do have any requests for topics that you'd like to hear us discuss on the show, juggling 2 balls without making it look like they're leaving his hand.
I can't juggle.
Not with that attitude. Otherwise, here I'll just kind of.
Of course,
if there are any topics you'd like to hear us discuss, or any guests, space guests, science guests, nerd guests,
do you want to be a guest? Let us know.
If you want to be a guest, will you be our friend? We need friends.
We need friends, especially after the incident. What?
We don't talk about that. But yes, let us know. Let us know in the comments on wherever you're seeing this, wherever you're viewing this. You'd most likely be viewing this, if not on one of the platforms like Spotify or YouTube, you'd be viewing it or linked to it through our socials. Benjamin, do you want to give your socials a big old shout?
Sure. I'll go first, since we're going to call this Science Actually Presents the Nerd and the Scientist, or Science Actually Presents the Scientist and the Nerd. It depends who observes what first.
They'll never know.
I am Benjamin, and I run Science Actually. Our biggest home is facebook.com/actuallyscience, and share 6 or more science articles a day, plus a daily science fact, plus my latest, the little series Collective Nouns of Animals, which are hilarious. A smack of jellyfish.
Love it.
You gotta love that. And check us out. Check me out on all the other time wasters, as Kovi calls them. And I am on Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, Mastodon, Hive, Twitter, aka X. I post all the science facts on LinkedIn, and of course the big one, Instagram and Facebook, everywhere.
And you can find me at Fun Fact Science on the app formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. I'm probably on Mastodon, but I don't ever check it. So